Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome to our panel today about the future of media. And I'm excited to introduce our panelists to you. First of all, we have Constance Landsberg. Constance is the CEO of Skoobe, which is kind of the Spotify for books, so flat rate books. Constance, welcome. We have Stefan Schulz with us. I call Stefan always the video pope of Germany. So Stefan is actually CEO of ConvertMedia. He used to be the CEO of Watchever, an online video portal you might know, and has worked for Universal. Welcome, Stefan. And we have Lars Moll with us. Lars is the General Manager, Product Management for BILD Digital. So from Berlin here. Lars. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Dennis Gassmann. I'm with Accenture. I'm leading Accenture's business for telecommunication, media, and technology here in the German-speaking region. So today our topic is, and Constance, I'll come around to you here, is the future of media. And I'm excited that we have the different topics of media with us. So more books and publishing with you, video, and the music stuff. Last, the news thing. Actually, when I walked around the Hub conference today, I mean, we have a lot of different industries here. And the topic, of course, at the moment is about digitalization, digital business, digital transformation. And some of the industries are more afraid about that. Some are already inside. I think media is quite different in one way. Media is in the digital transformation since, I would say, 20 years. Yeah. It started actually, or one of the big things where it started was in the 90s. And I can remember that well, when we did not hear music only from CDs. We got that thing called MP3, yeah, thanks to the Fraunhofer Institute. And we had the first music actually on our hard drive on computers or somewhere, yeah. And this was already a big digital disruption in the 1990s. And it was quite funny. I recently watched a video where they asked teenagers 2015 about what is MP3, and half of them didn't know. And there was one guy saying, yeah, I know what it is, MP3. That's how they listened to music, the old guys in the other century. Yeah? So I mean, for me, this was like the digital disruption already, and I'm in the beginning of the 40s. But the younger generation, they say, why the heck you're going to stream music? You don't load something on your computer. That's very old-fashioned, yeah? So in music, we have that digital disruption since a long time. And I know that quite well, actually. Accenture is responsible for the content provision of more than 50% of the music worldwide. If you either listen to iTunes or to Spotify, the content provided is done by Accenture for the majority in the world. So we're in that music thing for long years. So I'm glad having you three guys with me here today. And let's maybe start a bit, let's dive in. As I said, we're already in digital transformation in media since years. But we want to talk about what's even the new stuff to come, what's next, what will the next years and decades maybe bring us. How do you see at the moment, and the question to all of you, how do you see actually the media we're having at the moment, what will survive? What do you think does the traditional media as we know it today, will it survive? The printed book, the newspaper, the normal one? What will we have in addition? Any views from your side on that? Because an opening remark?
Yeah, I do think that we will keep all of those media. So depending of course, which type of story it's told. So either it's a long-term or a long story like in a book, or it's a short news-related story as in a newspaper. They will both be a printed and a digital product. For long stories like books, there will be probably more print than it will be on short stories. But overall, I think everything has its niche, and we see it for vinyls for music. So we see that there is still a niche for using that old medium, yeah. And so I think that it will continue for all the stories that are out there.
Yeah, we were just talking in the back there about. I think Stefan, you said you're actually going back sometimes to the printed books more, yeah. and I said I'm reading novels on the iPad mostly when I'm on the way, but some books I want to have printed hardcover in my shelf as well. So you think it's more an addition, what we have, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stefan, on the video side, what do you think?
Yeah, my feeling is that basically what's going to happen is that there may be certain formats that will continue existing, but at the same time the whole monetization scheme around it and the way that it causes an effect for potential advertisers, users, whatever, will be much more user-centric, and therefore the level of engagement that you can drive through media services will be in the future basically deciding whether or not you will be successful as a media company and how you can monetize.
Yeah.
So that is quite a shift. So I would consider this the upcoming part of the business that's definitely going to disrupt most of the different formats with regards to what exists today. It may be just a certain decline, and certain formats will just continue to exist. But with regards to the media branding, the overall, presentation, and the way that you interact with the clients is going to fundamentally change. And it will also change the entire value chain of the content production and the way that you have a return on investment and scale on content itself. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and I think we will talk about a little bit in that panel about also data monetization,
yes.
So how we make money out of that actually. Lars, your view?
Yeah, I think you said, you already mentioned that. I think in the middle of all of it is the brand still. So you said we had some phases of digitization. First one was you had to prove that your own products could be, or your own brand could be digital and do it well. And now we have new distribution models, social media, apps, and the whole. I think the main challenge is now how to distribute your content within all these channels, because it's more complex than ever before. But in the core of it is still the brand, and you need good journalism, you need research, you need companies, media companies that invest in journalism, that invest in reporters, and I think this is what will stay forever. But if it's print, or if it's online, or if it's web TV,
it's the old content is king.
Yeah.
And content will still be king. Yeah. Okay. Stefan, how has the user changed? I mean, the people consuming media, when you compare, maybe the early 2000s, the last decade, to now where we're in, and how do you think, what's the development going forward on the user behavior, or what is the expectation of the users out there, of the customers?
I think the users, the way that users consume content, and of course, as they, you mentioned the music industry before. We were there from the beginning with regards to not finding the right business model for the user, so that the way that the user can interact and enjoy and use the content is completely. It's not irrespective of what we have in mind from a media group perspective, but it is widely free in terms of how you can interact and use the platforms and share and get access to the content. So the business model of the industry in terms of media companies really has to be to adapt to this and to secure that there is a very high service level degree around the way how you package, the way how you interact with the users, because your monetization may not be as strict anymore with regards to one product, one price, 14 euros, 17 euros, 20 euros. The arrival of the subscription models with Spotify, Netflix, whatever, with all these services has already shown that it is very important to adapt to the user price behavior. Apple, that was the same, the music industry was not even able to go below 7 euros for a maxi, if you remember that, a maxi single with 3-4 tracks on it as a single, and instrumental, whatever, where Steve Jobs just said 99 cents, that's the price. So change of price points and change of service character in terms of how you package, how you build an app, how you gamify, how you make life easier and solve problems for end users with regards to content. I think this is where you bring back a very good value proposition, or where there's a lot of potential in bringing back old, value proposition levels, in which, basically we can even increase the business over time, because people, after all, don't want to be bothered. They don't want to act collect and work too much. It's not in their nature of the consumers to steal or to you know, like to make very complex.
They just want to consume quite
They just
easily.
want to consume it, but they want to have it easy. It needs to be super easy. So you cannot limit your responsibility just to producing the content and then leave it there. You need to take care to bring it end to end.
Yeah.
I would even add to it, it's not only about making it easy, but also making it risk-free, because there's so much information out there and so much possible to read, so much possible to listen to watch to, and so what to decide upon.
Yeah.
And if you're deciding each time, you're really making another new decision upon, like, do I really want to consume it? And to take out that step, it really helps consumers also to make it risk-free, to try out and then then pay whatever I like.
Yeah. So Constance, Skoobe, yeah, and I asked you before if I can call it the Spotify of books, yeah?
Yeah.
But I think the model is quite similar, because it's around 10 euro you're paying, less than 10 euro you're paying, and you can read, you know, flat rate. I think perfect for book lovers. And is that also, do you consider that something as a response also to the changed user behavior we're having, you know? Was that only, say, okay, let's do a cool idea and just bring the book flat rate out? Or could you really spot also, you know, a difference in user behavior from buying books as we had, then buying online and having the ebook? But is it like for you the next natural evolution?
I think it's an extension, so it's not it doesn't take away the purchasing of books, because books still have like other values, like I want to show off, I want to have something what I like, I really like to my heart, so I want to put it in my shelf. So it's an extension, but the extension really makes sense, because in the beginning it was an experiment. So the company was founded in 2010 already, when Spotify actually took off, and also we saw like whatever and Netflix growing, and so our shareholders who are publishers thought, what could be the next thing in reading? And then they tried it out, and we recognized very soon that customers loved the product, that they loved it, that they could read risk-free, that they could dive into the product and read whatever they like, and if they don't like it, just give it back, and you don't have a hassle. And so what we saw was the consumers adapted it very well. And what we see also is that it's not only that they use our product, but they find that reading for themselves is more important again, because we are basically there what the consumer has in its hand. So you're having your iPad here, but usually I have all my phone all the time with me, and so I daddle around, so looking to Twitter, Facebook, wherever. And now I can do something more valuable with my time, because I have all the books with me without even thinking about, or do I pay for something? I just can use the time. And that's also what we are seeing, so that our customers are reading more, and then even purchasing more books, because like reading is getting more important to them.
So it's a double effect actually at the end. Yeah, okay. Lars, I mean, there's hardly anyone who doesn't know BILD in Germany. BILD Digital, you're working for. You also have a product called BILD Plus. We talk about it a bit later. So how was the evolution at Axel Springer in the direction of BILD Digital as well? I mean, Axel Springer is a good example of a digital company. Every year, since a couple of years, we conduct a study together with the Welt about the top 500 digital companies, the large companies. And Axel Springer is always in the top 5 the last year, so I think digitalization is something that's really in the heart already at Axel Springer. So how was that evolution, you know, from the printed Bild-Zeitung to BILD Digital, and how do you see the difference in user behavior and the response to that?
I wasn't there when that happened. I started 3 years ago at BILD Digital, and but I was very surprised. I think that's what you said. In the heart of Springer, Springer decided to do digital, and they don't question it. So they see the opportunities and not the risk, and I think they see the revenues and not the cost, and that's the opposite of thinking too much in cannibalization. So and for BILD, our credo is that we want to be on every platform as a first mover and not as a fast follower. So we do the Apple Watch, we do apps, we do it for Kindle Fire, we do it for Microsoft, for all devices that there are, and we would like to live and learn, trial and error, and go in and pull back as well. And I think that's very important. So, of course, print and BILD.de and the mobile website and the apps, and with BILD Plus, those are our core products. But we try to be on every platform and to spread it there. And we learn a lot from other companies. So we have a very close interaction with companies in Silicon Valley. So it helped a lot that the managers and Kai Diekmann as well, that they were there. So we have a close connection there. And we have an accelerator program, for example, plug and play. So we work with people that are 20, 21, 22, and we can meet them almost all day because they're around the corner, and we see how they live and how they work, and that's very important as well for my team. I tell them to go there and to watch, and you have to be outside of your Axel Springer skyscraper to understand how the world
very
goes.
important topic about the collaboration of younger companies, startups with the established players. One of our topics in a couple of minutes. One topic in between, technology. I mean, digitalization, a lot is driven, by technology things. What are the technology evolutions or innovations that you think, even if you're not, the super techie or something, that you think were the main drivers? And what do you think, how did that change the evolution of media at the moment, how it will impact the future? Normally, if I look over industries, most of my clients tell me the last months, it's definitely analytics, what they say, because in analytics there was the biggest jump in terms of innovation in the last 36 months, and I think analytics is one topic. But what can you see in terms of more technical evolutions or innovations that drive, or that makes things different than you could maybe have done it 10 years ago?
Right now? Or
right now,
past,
and also looking a bit forward, maybe. Yeah?
Of course, streaming technology, cloud-based, architecture and services. That whole part, that's already history, because it was just
it's there already.
It's already there, and then of course the arrival of iOS and Google Play, and like the different app stores, and now I think what I can just say, because I was in the Silicon Valley last week, I can just say that what I see coming, which is really going to be changing the entire media world again, is going to be the augmented reality.
Okay.
Because the ability to bring people that are dead back to life, for example, the ability to, like what Magic Leap is doing. Some of my colleagues are now at Magic Leap with Google, to combine reality and virtual. And the virtual part. So you have all of a sudden, and I saw that last week. You have like a gymnasium, and there is a whale just jumping into it, and you sit there next to it, and you don't even realize how is this possible. So when that merges, I think we will see a complete new way of how you experience media.
So you think we will see new Marlon Brando movies and
absolutely
James
sure.
Dean?
Absolutely sure. Marilyn Monroe. You will see, as I learned last week, you will also see Elvis coming back on tour. It's not a
Elvis is really, not dead, as you know.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why it's so easy. But you will see, the sensation of media is going to reach a complete new level with augmented reality. So I think this is really a big step in the light of how you monetize and how you generate experiences.
So if you would be a startup in the media tech sector, augmented reality is definitely a field. Huh?
Exactly. Absolutely, okay. And if I was to buy and sell rights, I would invest exactly there.
Okay. Interesting for I think a couple of you guys as well. Lars, what do you think? What do you see?
I think the same, and we are looking into some stuff there. But the other thing is data, and that's a huge challenge, because we are setting it up, Axel Springer in general, and at BILD as well. And I think this is crucial for the future, how you use data in journalism, how you use data in analytics to track your users, and how you build products around data. And I think content-wise, there's almost, the heart is still the content, as I said at the beginning, but and data will not replace content, but it can help a lot to publish it more efficient.
Minimize the cost.
Yeah, minimize the cost, but even to generate new ideas, But data journalism is quite interesting, and how to build stories around that. And I think this is a huge challenge as well, but this is what media companies cannot avoid and have to look into very, very closely.
Yeah, I was completely impressed. I had a discussion with the chief editor of one of the big American actually newspapers, and she's head of investigative journalism as well. And she told me, you know, when I hired journalists in the 90s, you know, 70% of them were like pure journalists. Now 70% of them are computer science guys and data scientists, yeah? Because it has completely changed the investigative journalism partly. You still have to write, but also I learned a lot of the like financial articles, for example, a lot of them are actually written by automatically or robots, which is kind of scary as well. I think it's not everything can be done by robots, but like, you know, if you just do a financial analysis on the Mercedes-Benz financial results of the quarter or something, it could be 90% of that could be quite easily done by automation. Yeah. So is automation a big topic also for you guys already?
And we don't do it right now, but we are looking into it. I think you still. What you said is, I think it's not a journalist who looks into the data, or it's a journalist, but it's a different job description. Yeah. I think it's very important that you still have the journalist that only writes articles. And he should not write in a CMS, he should not care about how do I put all the content fields in the CMS to make the article viewable online. He should focus on content. And then robot journalism or automated text will help to maybe to give them a basis, and then you can work around it or work with the raw material you have. Yeah, but I think it doesn't make sense if a journalist needs 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depends on the CMS, to set up a page and then to write the text. No. He should do the text.
And I guess you could never replace the BILD headline with a robot. Yeah? So this is quite something.
I would like to add actually on that. So for us, what I see is that it's not only about the data, but actually what you do with the data. So data itself doesn't have a value. The value is if you're doing something for the customer and you recognize out of the data, drive out of the data what the customer wants. And so for and I think then their difficulty or the challenge there is actually to choose for the customer, because like there are tons of more information and more stories available. So everything is getting like, even if you're saying like with the augmented reality, now you're having Elvis on top, so on the things like that the living people are imagining now. So I think like what's major key in the future is to select the things that are presented, and that has like some advantages but could also have some risks, because you're how do you actually get it smaller? It's getting by choosing, and you want to have it directly personalized to yourself, so that's why it's getting more personalized, and you see only the things you've seen already before. So I think that's the challenge, the major challenge to get the selection right. What do I see? Because I can't see everything.
Challenge and opportunity. Path, and
I think data for us as Germans is very important, especially because of the fact that we have certain limits in you know, leveraging our language, for example, or scaling our language. So it's very difficult for us. So we have, you know, all the production that we have to do in Germany is mostly for the German market. You have some examples like Rammstein or like, you know, some other artists.
Rare examples.
Yeah, you have rare examples, but in general, we are very much limited to the funding, also supported by the government and everything. So the more we learn about the content, the more it's being consumed, the better it is to recoup our investment costs. This is completely different in the US, by the way. Yeah. There is also a lot of focus on data, but the pressure is not as high. Yeah. You know? So I think that is why data monetization in Germany, I think, is even more valuable than in a market where you serve 100 markets anyway.
Yeah. It's a good topic that you started, because let's talk a little bit about paid content. I mean, Germany is also a market where people, you know, tend to think like, you know, it's all good, you should get everything for free. Yeah? And of course we know normally that there's the not so old saying, but that you either pay for a product or you are a product, yeah? Or you are the product, which is true for most things that are free. Nothing is really for free. But talking a little bit about paid content, yeah, and especially the hurdles we have in Germany. I mean, Constance, you guys at Skoobe, you don't have a free model, so everything is at the end. There are different models, but they're all paid models. So how is your experience with that? And was there a big resistance, or how do you face that?
I think that paying or not paying is not the issue. Of course, like what's the right level of how much people are willing to pay, that's an issue, but it's not about paying or not paying, because we see that good content, for good content, people are willing to pay. Yeah. So they get a good product, so I pay for it. So I think that's
also the price barrier must be in a range, in a good range.
It's a bit about, you know, I would say from a user perspective, it's just cut the crap. Because you cannot sell to me an album out of which 11 songs are really bad, and then you want to have the same price as you used to have in the physical world. Now, if you say that, for example, 15 years after the world record, I mean the US record of NSYNC, for example, and the highest sold album was, I think, 2.4 million sold in the first 4 or 5 weeks. Now, Adele topping this up to 3.6. I mean, after 10, 15 years where the market has lost 50% of its value because nobody wants to pay anymore, it's ridiculous. Yeah. The same with Star Wars. I mean, there's 70 million pre-orders. So the crowd has never been so active in paying. 17 million pre-orders on one movie. So it's absolutely not about people don't want to pay.
And the most money Disney is not making out of the movie, it's about the merchandising around it.
So don't give me stuff I don't want. Yes. That is difficult now because it's a different time.
Yeah. Lars, I mean, BILD is a good example. You started BILD Plus, which is actually paid content on BILD. What's the experience from BILD on that one? Yeah? Because a lot of people, I heard, you know, when they start saying, oh, nobody will pay for BILD online or something. Yeah. So what's your experience on that? I think the resonance is quite good.
Yeah, it's great. We launched 2013, so almost 2.5 years ago, and we didn't know how it would go. And we are very convinced that that's the right way to go. We almost have 300,000 subscribers now to BILD Plus, so monthly subscribers. It's a freemium model, so you can use BILD, and then you have content parts you pay for. But if you are a BILD Plus subscriber, it's quite similar to a subscription model. It's a subscription model, but you use it via all products. So you can use the app, you can use it online, you can watch it you can use the web TV part. So you are a BILD subscriber on all platforms and not just paying online or paying mobile. And we are very happy with that. We invested a lot of content at the same time because the paid content differs from free content, that it's exclusive or it's behind the story or it's a piece that is very well done with a lot of interactive graphics. So people pay for content that has a high value. Yeah. And I think the core users of BILD, they are paying, and we increase traffic at the same time. So it shows that you can install a paid content model, but grow at the same time with your free advertising model.
Yeah. Okay. And also the hurdle about what you pay. I mean, for me, a classic example on price barriers when we looked at applications. I mean, buying a software package for 500 euro as a private person was, in the old times, it was just, you know, nobody did it. But then you had your iPhone or something and you say, okay, 49 cents, okay, I'm going to buy, because the hurdle is not so. And I think 9 euro something for reading flat rate is a decent price, and also the BILD model. Switching a topic at the moment, and let's talk a little bit about how the established media companies, Springer, the larger houses, work together, you know, with more like the new economy, the startups and things. And I think what's very interesting also, I mean, the Bitkom Hub conference is a very good example. You have like the old established economy here, you have the new economy here, you have the startups here. And I think especially in the age of digitalization and where we are at the moment, it's essential that these different types of companies work together. We actually, Accenture, we published a study, and if you're interested on the study, you can just drop around the corner then to the Accenture Digital booth. We have the study there about, you know, open innovation and how the entrepreneurship of startups has an impact on digitalization and digital transformation in established companies. And we asked more than 1,000 C-levels all over the world around that topic, and also startup companies. And basically, 82% at the end say it's essential to make the digital journey that you have to work together as an established company with the new economy and with the startups. Otherwise, you will not be a winner in the digital age. Yeah? It's very different if you ask the entrepreneurs what the perception is on how good they find the work together at the moment. They're still a bit like, it does not work so well. The big companies, they only tend to love their business model. The large company actually says, yeah, it works tremendous. So it's a little bit different view. But I think in media as well, we see that, not only since last year or 2 years, we see that already, a decade or something. And I think this is an essential part. And what are your experiences on that part? I mean, Constance, you are a young, dynamic, new company, yeah, but you're also working very closely together with the big ones because they are the book guys. What's your experience on that part, and how would you describe the situation and even the advantages going forward?
I think we're very good examples for that big companies want to work together with a startup, because we could have also been created in-house inside the publishing houses. So, yeah. But the publishing houses decided not to do it internally because there are some resistances, of course, regarding the model. There's a lot of fear. Could it subsidize my normal, or substitute my normal sales? So could it be harming that?
Okay.
And
yep.
In order not to have the barriers there, they decided to build an own company who can really run on its own and be liberal there.
Also to try it out.
Yeah, to try it out also. So yeah, it would, in the beginning it was also it's easier because you could switch it off if it wouldn't happen, or if it wasn't successful. Fortunately, it's not. So we are still here, and we are here to stay. But in the beginning, that was definitely also a question. But for us, we think we are in a very good conditions. On the one hand, we are having the publishing houses who are supporting us a lot, especially getting into contact with other publishing houses. Mm-hmm. So we don't have only content from our shareholders, but also from other publishers. And on the other hand, that we have the freedom, the speed to go on our own time and speed.
Yeah. Okay. Lars, Axel Springer as well, you work with a lot of startups, and you also, we're doing the incubator together, Plug and Play. And Jörg Reinbold and the team are doing a great job, I think, in also developing new companies. And you at BILD, you work together with a lot of, small companies, startup companies. Buzz is a good example, where you can just swipe the messages on your phone and it's content by BILD. So what are your experience, and how important do you see that topic?
I give you an example. I said before, we do both. So you talked about personalization. In that aspect, we have a strategic partnership with Outbrain, who are very big, who are a huge company on content personalization. Yeah. So we have a strategic partnership there, but at the same time, we work together with startups, for example, with Retesco from Berlin. We do personalization at the same time and trial and error there. And if we see a good idea in Plug and Play, we say, okay, let's work together. We did something with a analytics tool, and then we just try it out and see how it goes. And then you have an input and in both directions. You have young people who see how it works in a huge company and a huge brand, but you have people within the brand that know how it is to work in an agile surrounding of a startup. So this is very important for us to do both, to work with the big ones and with startups as well.
From our perspective, I can just say, because I've been working at Vivendi for 17 years, and you remember
media giant,
and we were doing everything ourselves in 2001 with Messier, ruined about 50 billion euros. In the end, we did Watchever and other things, but all the successful models happened outside. iTunes, Spotify, Netflix. Not one of the very successful models has ever been created by any kind of movie industry or music industry. Unfortunately, it's not to discourage anyone, but it's not comparable to BILD, because you have an umbrella brand. But in our spheres, it has never happened.
Yeah. Okay. So we're coming to the end, actually. Some last words from you on future of media again. What do you think? What we will be facing in the future on media? What is your guess? What will be a breakthrough, or what's an area to watch? Maybe you said already something about augmented reality. Any ideas from you? What do you think? What will be next?
A little bit more short term, I would say web TV, even higher rates of web TV and mobile monetization. This is what's going to increase in the next 2 to 3 years significantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Constance?
Obviously, I think also that mobile is an important topic and that that will run forward. But I really thinking about the selection part, like how is information, how our story is presented, that will change a lot.
Okay.
I say augmented reality, virtual reality, and crowdsourcing.
Okay, also interesting topic in video.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, that concludes actually our session we right at the end. I hope you got some interesting topics from us today. Thanks for listening. We're happy to hear your feedback. You can find us on the attendee list and also in the obvious channels in the internet. Thanks to you guys for being here, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for having us.